Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Let me make this clear. The National Party and the Coalition will be opposing this bill. This is nothing more than a cheap political diversion. A cheap political diversion that is not facing up to the real problem in this country, which is radical Islamists that are taking hold and are causing the harm on the streets that we saw in Bondi. It is not the gun owners of Australia that have done this. It is radical Islam that has done this. One element of this bill that we will support is the ASIO checks. In fact, we supported a national gun register that could have been put in place if those opposite had already put it in place that was agreed to nearly 2 years ago. Instead, what they are trying to do is demonise, legalise gun owners for a cause that did not take place because of them. We do not have a gun problem, we have a radical Islam problem. The gun laws in this country actually worked because those perpetrators of that evil act in Bondi actually should have not had their licence in place because there was a order by the police that saw that they were on a watch list. If I have a domestic violence order against me in this country, my gun licence and my gun is taken away. This is a failure of process, not a failure of gun licensing. The fact is the authorities did not act and take away the licence and the weapons as they should have. But this legislation goes further. It goes further into the implications of imports around the types of firearms that are coming in that are already covered under state legislation. In fact, the overreach in which we are talking about here, we'll see some of the pistols that are coming into this country for sporting shooters, and the member for Hunter, who isn't quite here at the moment for some reason, what some of the weapons that he would use to become an Olympian again will be revoked under that import order. We'll also see weapons that are used by primary producers to actually undertake the pest management that we need are absolutely revoked. This is not going to the heart of the problem. And in fact, this is not just about farmers. This is about the people in metropolitan areas as well. The lawful gun owners that actually do a lot of the heavy lifting for farmers, the pest management, the people in Newcastle and Illawarra that the member for Bendigo talk about, who are lawful gun owners and come out to farms and do the works of pest mitigation. They do that because farmers do not have the energy and time to be able to do that, and these people own a number of guns to be able to undertake that. You cannot own a gun in this country just because you want one. You have to pass a fit and proper person test. You have to wait 28 days. You just can't say, I want a high calibered weapon. You have to demonstrate a necessity and you have to be able to prove that. You have to go through training. You actually get inspected every 12 months about that weapon. And so the licensing arrangements that we have in place and the weapons and the calibre of weapons that are approved has been proven to work. What this is a diversion because of a cheap political stunt by this government who wanted to divert attention away from the nation's real problems onto the lawful gun owners of this nation. And we're also going to take away the imports of accessories that those sporting shooters that will not be able to have their vests, their Olympic vests, that can have 50 cartridges in to be able to shoot. I mean, this is where there has been no consultation. And then we get in to the use of a carriage service, whereby if someone goes to download how to place a scope on their rifle, that they would be in breach of this legislation. That is innocent Australian gun owners because of an overreach, a desperate overreach by a government that is looking for a political diversion of demonising lawful Australians. And if you honestly believe you want to spend $1 billion that Queensland, New South Wales and Tasmania don't want to spend, $1 billion on buying guns back, are you that naive to think that the criminals and the terrorists are the ones that are going to hand them back? That is not going to solve the problem of what we have in this nation. You are impinging on the rights of lawful Australians that have proven to do the right thing, to have respected the law. We are trying to solve a problem that is not there. You are taking away the attention of what is the real problem in this country, what caused the tragic events of Bondi. If you do not have the courage to look yourself in the mirror, to look the country in the eye and say it is not guns that are the problem, but it is radical Islam that is the problem, then all you are doing is diverting attention and taking away the rights of lawful Australians, whether they be on farms or whether they be in metropolitan areas that have done the right thing by this country, that have abided by the law and should not have their rights taken away, because that That is not the Australia that we deserve to hand over to the next generation, and that's the one that a gutless government that hasn't got the courage to face into the problem. That's the gutless nature of this government that will not own up to the problems that has been allowed to seep into this country for 2.5 years.